So a little bit of an update on the bike situation. I have bought a new bike, a new road bike. Wasn't planning on a new road bike. I was actually thinking of a gravel bike for a while. Lockdown being the way it's been, and doing a lot of road cycling, and a few other things, I thought I'd go for a new road bike. Now, contrary to my last experience with Giant, I have actually went with a Giant again. But let me run down why I went with a new road bike. So first of all, on not going for a gravel bike, would be nice to have. I think they would be the great N+1 bike. It would only be wheels you were changing. However, if you look at the way gravel bikes are going now, they are almost going back to being hardtails. Now I have this incredible bike here, this Giant Advanced 29er hardtail, and it's just a superb bike. Now I'm lucky I live near a big wind farm with lots of gravel roads, and this thing flies on it. If the Dirty Reaver hadn't been cancelled this year, I would have actually considered doing it in this because it's so light and it's so fast. I actually think it would have done the job. And also I do have my infamous Giant TCX, which rode Dirty Reaver all 187 kilometres of it last year. It's currently got some road wheels on it because when it was a bit wet, I was using it as a road bike. Still got problems with the rivets, but well, that's another story. So decided, do you know what? I really don't need a gravel bike. This is my Giant TCR. It's a 2012 model and it's been a cracking bike. A bit hard to fault. Now I changed the group set last year from a 7-year-old Ultegra set to a brand new 105, but I just felt it was time for a bit of an upgrade. I do have the Kinesis as well, which is mostly my commuting bike or a spare pit bike for cyclocross races. Might do something else with it, but I'll make another video if I do something with it. So what I decided to get was this bike here. 2012 model of the Giant TCR Advanced one, and I went with it because just over $2,000 with full Ultegra and hydraulic discs. I thought it was a super bike to get. Now I know I said I wouldn't go with Giant again after my experience with the TCX, but here's my thinking. The problem wasn't Giant. Every company in the world is going to have a problem on their manufacturing line at some point, and I was unlucky. And what I had to say to myself was I had 4 Giants and problems with one. So think about that. It's a one-off. The real problem was buying online, as good a deal as it was £700-800 off the price of the bike. It's hard to return something that big and bulky when there's a problem. And Rutland Cycles as well pretty much did not want to deal with me at all. I kind of suspect that this bike went on sale because they knew there were issues and just didn't want to deal with it and wanted it out of their shop, out the way, out of sight, out of mind, and their customer service was pretty poor. So I looked locally for bikes. Couldn't see any that I liked until I got it. This is fairly close. My new bike's from Pedal Power in West Calder, which is about 30-35 miles from where I live. So you've got that situation where I've got a bike, I know the sizing, it's obviously the colour that I like, but also there's a shop I can return it to if anything went wrong with it. That there's direct liability there and they can deal with any problems. In fact, they did actually say, when I explained all the stuff that's happened with my TCX, that they would help me with that in the future as well. So maybe that's again another story I'll return to. So let's kind of go over the bike just now and see what we've got. So here we have the Giant TCR Advanced 1 2020 model. So what came with it? Now here we go. We have full Ultegra 11-speed. Ultegra is fantastic. To be honest, I find the 105 to be superb, and from what I read online and from what generally people say, the difference between Ultegra and 105 is weight, and it's literally the weight of a packet of crisps. However, having gone back from 105 to Ultegra on this bike and the few rides been out, it is just that wee bit more plusher with gear changes. So in getting Ultegra on a bike at just £2,000 now, that's pretty decent. Obviously I like the colour, electric blue, it's pretty decent colour. It also came with hydraulic discs, okay, so let's have a look at them. So here we have the Shimano Ultegra full hydraulic discs, and they get great reviews. Got them front and rear. I have made a few changes. I have put other wheels on, and I'll talk about them in a minute. I have put the Shimano Ice Tech rotors on. You're running at much higher speeds when you're on the road, and obviously you want to dissipate the heat to stop your disc brake and rotor warping, so I thought that was a good investment to get. Obviously I've ran hydraulics before on my mountain bikes and on the TCX. It's the first time on a road bike, and it's a huge difference. I think hydraulic discs is the only way to go from now on. I have put a few things on the bike myself. Transferred over my pedals, my trusty pedals, Ultegra pedals. They're a bit scratched, as you can see, but they are still full working order, and never have any problems with them. You can see 8 years, and there's not even a noise when you turn them. I've also moved my carbon bike cages across, which just look nice. Just a shame the lettering's red instead of blue. It would have went a wee bit better, but that's not too bad. I also moved across my Pro Logo scratch tie saddle. But again, it's something I might change soon. The saddle's 8 years old, but maybe something with a wee bit of give in the middle might help. Also put on my Wahoo mount, out front mount, which is pretty good. Now, I've changed the wheels. Giants come with their stock wheels from the factory. Now, I find the wheels that come with Giants really good, especially on my mountain bike. They've full carbon rims on them, but these are good wheels. You're probably looking at something kind of sitting somewhere between the Mavic Axiom and the basic Mavic Cosmic, that what you get with it, and they're really good wheels. They come with the 6-bolt disc brake, but I have changed over to Mavic Cerium Elites. I'd bought these for the new bike simply because on my previous bike I had the Mavic Cerium Elites for the rim brake version, and they have been amazing wheels. Literally no problems with them ever. I don't think the bearings have even been changed, and they still run nice. So I'm just changing like for like. I also mentioned that I am going tubeless for the first time ever across all my bikes. Kind of the decision made for me because the bike came set up tubeless, and my Ceriums that I bought came set up tubeless. So I am going tubeless. I'm a wee bit apprehensive. I have never went tubeless before. I've found the simplicity of tubes and having to change a tube quite good for somebody who's maybe a wee bit handless at the mechanics of everything. But we'll see how it goes. Putting the sealant into the Ceriums was fairly simple. I've just always run really good tyres, so I haven't had much problems, touch wood, with punctures, but we'll see how my experience goes with running tubeless. I do like to ride slightly wider tyres. I'm in 25s, and sometimes I've had 28s, and I do think they're more comfortable, and apparently with the tubeless system I can maybe run 25s, 28s, and at a lower pressure, so about 80 psi, which should help with the comfort. So we'll see how tubeless goes as well. The one thing I have noticed that's slightly different, that I've never had before, the front disc is a 160 and the rear disc is a 140. Obviously that's because your stopping power's all on the front and your rear one's for slowing you down. So nice looking wheels there. A louder Freehub. I did ask Sigma Sports who I bought the wheels from about the louder Freehub because I was worried about it. But they actually, very, very impressed, they actually put me on to the technician for Mavic in the UK who sent me diagrams and everything to explain, yeah, don't worry about it, they are meant to be louder, and it's about a more efficient wheel, pedal to turning ratio and so on. I forwarded it on to my dad who knows about these things a lot more than I do. So there is my giant TCR Advanced one. Been out in a few 100-kilometre rides on it. Only had it a couple of weeks. So far, very impressed. Tried to set it up similar to my previous bike. I did still have my previous bike fit measurements, and the geometry's still the same as Pedal Power and West Calder said. But I'm considering, when all this lockdown is over, maybe going for a second bike fit. It has been 7 years since my last bike fit on my other TCR. And body shape, style, riding style and everything changed, so it's maybe time for a wee change as far as that goes. So we now have 4 giants in the fleet. We did have 5 for about a week. I had a Giant Defy, I'll maybe put a picture up here, that I bought second hand and then did up with parts I had and wheels I had roundabout, and it's been a brilliant bike. It's served as my winter bike, but recently put on a mostly kind of nearly new 105 group set on it. Cracking bike, but it was just going to be sitting from now on, so there was absolutely no point in having it. So I wanted somebody to get use of it. So the Defy is gone, it's been sold, and I'm sure somebody will enjoy it. Really like the Defy, and it's a bike I'd maybe consider in the future. So there's a wee roundup of my new bike, and like the TCX, I'll maybe do a further review after it's been ridden for 6 months to a year. And if I can ever get the problems sorted with the loose rivets on the TCX, I'll maybe give an update on that. So there you go, new bike for the summer. We're not going to Mallorca, Spain on holiday, that's all been cancelled. So at least I've got a new bike to cycle on the home roads. So there you go.